balance staff jewel settings. I'm going to put a jewel in that, and then there's a cap jewel on top of that. So instead of buying it, I'm going to make it out of a piece of brass. See how well that works. I've measured the setting using this tool here, and basically use the end here, measured the width of the setting. I selected a piece of stock, and then I measured the width of the stock, and what I did was I cut it and I faced it off, and then from there I just measure the width and take it down. It's about 2.7 is what it's supposed to be at, and right now it's at 3.4. So I'm going to take some material off this. I take the material off using a carbide graver and on a Boley lathe. So just take a bit off here just to show you what I'm doing here, and bringing that down to 2.7 is what I measured as the general width or diameter actually of the part. And the part is actually going to be only going to be about this thick. So at some point in time when I cut this off, after I've graved out what I need to grave out on the inside, I'll have to cut that off and then face that off. I may have to use a shellac chuck to hold it after. So anyway, I'm going to remove the material from this down to about 2.7 millimeters. So at this point, I'm just going to have another quick look at the fit here to make sure haven't measured something wrong. And so what I'll do is just put the part against the base here and have a look. And yeah, I still have some material to take off. So I need to turn this part around actually so that the wider part is at the base. I've got a piece of Rodico here, and yeah, it still has to go down. And I did measure that it was 2.7, and we're almost there. All right, still cutting away here at this and trying to get the optimum speed for the lathe. And I've got basically a sewing machine motor, and I've got a counter shaft running here too, so I don't have any torque issues. And I think this is the optimum speed because I'm taking off this, can I say shit? A shitload of material here at this speed. So trying to keep it clean here. Crap load of material. I'm going to measure in a few seconds and see where I'm at. So I'm probably getting pretty close to my 2.7 distance. And what I do is flip that around, get rid of the shavings, make sure you get rid of the shavings at the base and at the side. There's nothing there, it's all good. And then measure really quickly to see where I'm at. And I'm at 3, so I did take off quite a bit of material there. I'll bring it back a bit, and away we go again. I'm using a low boy foot pedal, by the way, in case you're curious. It seems to run the sewing machine motor really well, so it needs to be smooth, smooth, smooth. So there's low boy and Fordham. I think also has a good pedal too. So one or the other. They both kind of use the same electronics inside. So there's it's just the low boy is really nice because you don't have to lift your foot up at all almost to get your foot on top of the pedal. So it works well with the lathe to control the speed. And I actually love having this pedal here to start and stop and control the speed. So I can wind it up pretty fast or keep it going reasonably slow. So it's I think it's a great option to having to manually deal with the speed on on I'll show you what this lathe setup looks like just before I finish. So I've got a counter shaft, so I've got the sewing machine on going to a counter shaft, large pulley going to a small pulley on the counter shaft, which is going to the Boley lathe and the second pulley over, which seems to be giving me excellent torque. There's never any slowdown. And I'm cutting brass here with a carbide graver, so it's not a problem here at all. Normally I cut steel, and so this is pretty soft stuff. But this is the very first lower jewel that I've made. Upper lower balance staff jewel. This is a lower one I'm making. So we'll see what happens. Okay, at this point in the cutting, I can actually take the plate, and this is where the jewel setting will go, and I can just basically put the plate up against this piece of brass I've cut down, and then see if I'm very close, and I am very close. So just have a couple of just a little bit to take off, and that's it. So that's kind of the absolute measurement. If it doesn't fit into the hole, or if it's too loose, then it's no good. Alrighty then, I just have to shave off a couple mils here because it's very close to being fitting nicely, so I'm going to shave off just a little bit because it doesn't have to be snug in the jewel setting. It should be a nice fit, but it doesn't have to be super snug. So I think if I take a bit off here, it should fit perfectly. So I'm just going to take it down a bit, smooth it out, and then measure it. So again, I've got the chuck here, I've got the setting I'm making, so it's going in right there. So I just have to make sure that this fits. I'll slide that over, and if it's the right size, we're in business, as they say. And I can look through the side screw holes, and I think that basically it looks like it's fitting. So yeah, that's it's good. I'm going to shave off just a bit, not on the end, but on the just past the end, so I can bottom it out and see what it looks like. And take off just a bit here, just to allow this thing to bottom out a bit, and then I'll see what it looks like. Yeah, that should be enough. There we go. Now I'll just test that again and make sure that goes in. And oh yeah, that's nice. And if I look down the other side, move the camera out of the way here, then I'm definitely bottoming out. Yep, perfect. And that's it. So now I've got I got this part made. So now the next thing I have to do is cut the inside. So that'll be a bit after. First thing I need to do is eat dinner. Anyway, that's part one of the